Welcome to Vinyl Verdict. I'm Bell.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Ploof.
And I think it's my turn. I'm Luke.
Hi, Luke.
We have a guest.
Hi.
We have a guest this week.
Whoa.
It's Luke.
Luke Lafreniere. As I said last week, Luke Lafreniere.
I was going to say, that's not how you pronounce it.
Luke
It's Lafreniere.
Luke Lafreniere. Luke Lafreniere.
There you go. Yeah, good.
Friend, coworker, boss.
Someone's boss. Not mine.
No one here.
Yes, let's go. Yes, Luke, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
What did you choose this week for us to listen to?
Tiger Army by Tiger Army.
A classic.
Absolutely. Amazing.
They have 4 self-titled albums.
Yeah.
That's how you know it's good. That's how you know it's really
It's like
good.
Zeppelin.
They're
They have
super
no names.
not worried about the SEO of any of their previous albums.
It's like, what are you listening to? Tiger Army. Bracket 1999.
Yeah, I wanted to throw this one at you guys. I had a really hard time picking what I wanted to bring to the podcast.
You went through like 6 different choices, and you're like, "Couldn't I do 2?"
A lot more than that, actually.
You could just come back on the podcast.
It's actually okay.
What were the other choices?
I landed. I had
Mad Villainy.
Mad Villainy, which is like,
Yeah, it's a good choice.
see,
We
I
did-
almost swore, but I stopped myself.
We did Danger Doom last week, so it would have been funny timing to
Yeah.
do immediately after
Oh,
an
that
actual
would've been
Doom
pretty
album.
sick. Yeah, I've been a fan of Doom for a super long time.
Same.
I kept on going, like, I wanted to try to bring something that would be interesting. And I was pretty stuck on Mad Villainy, but I didn't go with it because I went through the podcast history and I saw some stuff that I'm like, they've listened to this before. Like, there's like no way they aren't aware of Mad, because a bunch of people aren't if they're not really into that
That's
scene.
me. I have never listened to Doom before.
Really?
Danger
Yeah.
Doom,
Yeah.
That's actually
And I
surprising.
and I
I
had
own
Have you
chose.
listened to Mad Villainy at
No,
all?
I own it.
We're gonna end up talking about a different album than we planned on.
You can talk about whatever you want. But Ploof owns a lot of the MF Doom albums. How many MF Dooms do you own?
I only have 2. I've got Food and Operation Doomsday.
Oh, you got him food. Yeah, that's
Operation
right.
Doom.
Well, and then
I've heard a couple songs.
Danger Doom.
And Danger Doom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty solid.
Have you heard Figaro?
No, I don't think so.
I should have done it then. Oh my goodness. Okay, Figaro is just, it's an amazing song. And so maybe go listen to that after
I will.
this. But instead, I decided to get you guys to listen to Garbage.
A Ploof pick.
Instead of like the lyrical masterpiece that is Figaro, I went with Trash. I really like Tiger Army, but I have never shown it to anyone that has also gained that likeness for Tiger Army. The reason why I decided to bring it to this show is because I saw some rock, I saw some rap.
Yeah.
I like both of those. I also like punk. Didn't see any punk. I might have missed something. I didn't look that
Have we
closely.
done any punk at that point? Because now
No.
we've covered 2 different.
Maybe
punk
you have?
albums.
Yeah, this has
Okay.
been in the works for a bit because like we've done the Distiller since then,
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did Coral
okay.
Fang.
Yeah.
but like I don't know much else.
Yeah.
Well,
much.
we technically we did. I don't know. We want to call Green Day punk.
No.
Green
No.
Day is like,
No.
I don't know.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
Yeah, I listen to punk. I'm a big Green Day fan.
That makes me uncomfortable. So I decided to pick Tiger Army because Tiger Army is psychobilly music, which is fusion,
yeah,
rock, and punk. I was like, maybe this will bridge a gap for some people.
yeah. It's got
Probably not.
It's got the old rockabilly sound.
Yes, some of the songs on this album are kind of like too rockabilly for my taste. In personally, because the second I'm like, this sounds like Elvis, I kind of get a little bit dropped off. There are some songs that are like that, and I'm not that into it. This is not an album where I like every single song at all, but there are 2 songs in particular. There's a few songs that I'm into, and 2 songs in particular that I very often come back to, which keeps Tiger Army in the top of my mind. And that would be Nocturnal and Never Die.
Fair.
The 2 ones that I really liked on this album too.
That's fair.
If you look up, like, what's Tiger Army's good songs? Okay.
It's those two, yeah.
I did something before the show just for like lulls to see what would happen. I'm gonna make sure I include this topic in everything that I do. But I asked ChatGPT. I was like, "Why would someone like Tiger Army?"
Ooh.
And it was like it has a really good song called "Never Die." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So I think that's like decently common. I do like some of the other songs. 20 Flight Rock is my least favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, Outlaw Heart is the most popular song on this album.
I was surprised
on
that as well.
Spotify.
Interesting.
Yeah, Apple Music as well.
8.7 million
Yeah.
plays. It must have been in something.
I also
It
wrote
must have been in something.
disappointed that it's got the most plays on Spotify by a country mile.
Heyo.
Like,
Hey, it's got a country sound,
Yeah,
too.
like it's an okay song, but it just I don't know. It's not.
That's why I was like, is this Psychobilly?
No.
It's just because they have this like one cowboy song. Like I don't really know what Psychobilly is.
Psychobilly is
but-
like weird, like rockabilly, but with like a really fast punk flair.
Yeah, with a
to it.
punky.
I kind of hear it in the
Yeah.
drums. The drums are kind of like
There's an upright
It was-
bass
yeah,
on this
the
album.
yeah,
bassist
the bass is really
yeah.
good.
slaps.
I really like the bass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's so
he-
good.
he's
I like
really
the
stand
inclusion. There's if you really distill it down to like 3 songs or 2 songs or something, I actually really like their stuff. My problem with Tiger Army is when they start getting too rockabilly, or they start kind of going off course a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And I think honestly that's what kept them from really popping.
None of their songs are long enough to be offensive, though. Like the songs are 3 minutes or less. There's one song that's like 3 minutes and 12 seconds long.
Yeah, the rest are like in the 1 minute mark.
Yeah,
By the time you're like, I'm over this, it's actually
It's
over.
done,
So
yeah.
it's convenient.
it's 13 songs. I wrote 14, but there's 13 songs, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole album's 32 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
32
A
and a
lot of
half.
punk music is
32 and
short.
a half.
Almost
Excuse me,
33.
actually, it's short.
A lot of punk music
that's
is
right.
short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I own a Fugazi album that has 20 tracks and is 60 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
That's a bad ratio. Yeah.
There's only so long you can like be that hyperactive.
Yeah.
Before you're like, I need a drink or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet this would be. I would love to see this album played live. Like I bet
Yes.
this would be. They'd be in crazy live.
They're not well known for much, but they are decently well known for their live shows. Nick 13, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yep,
it's-
that's
the-
it.
He's like the
frontman?
only one that is in the band for more than like a year. It's crazy to look at the Wikipedia
Yeah, he's
and it's
the
like
only
the
constant
little bar
member.
graph
Yeah.
of all the members just changes constantly. I'm like, whoa.
He's currently on tour right now doing his like side stuff.
Yeah.
Like he does like Americana stuff, so it's like I don't know how to describe Americana. Americana is just like doing the classic songbook, I guess, or like what Johnny Cash was doing just before he died, like all those series of albums.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what he's still out there doing stuff, and I think Tiger Army performs occasionally still. They've got in like 20 years they've got 7 albums or something like that.
Yeah.
4 of them are called Tiger Army.
I still love that. Yeah. That's great. But yeah, I wish I caught a live performance for the exact same reason. It's very fun. Emma asked me my girlfriend asked me to try to describe Tiger Army music to her because she's never particularly been a fan. And I was like, it's like you're like jogging with an objective outside in the evening in spring wearing jeans.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but that like really works for me in my head.
I like it.
You're in a hurry to get somewhere.
Yeah, for like a reason. But you're jogging because like you don't have a car for some reason, and you're definitely wearing jeans. I don't know why the jeans are specific, but they're probably too tight.
I understand what you're saying too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like there's a vibe. Yes, I understand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why it works,
I'm
but
picking it up.
Yeah, it does for some reason.
Yeah, there's something kind of inherently. I mean, even this first song, it's almost a little stressful sometimes.
Yeah.
This first song, we'll get into it a bit more later, but it has like transitions from.
No, wait, hold on. Are you talking prelude?
The prelude, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Where it kind of transitions from something a little bit calmer to this very loud, very stressful, very fast, and it's like you're being chased all of a sudden. And I feel like that happens in a couple songs where I'm like,
Yeah.
whew. Like I don't know if I could handle more than 2 minutes because it's just my heart is racing and I'm just like sitting on my couch listening on the stereo and I'm like, oh, this is a vibe. But I mean, I feel like maybe that's why I don't listen to a ton of punk music, is I get too into it, but I'm not going out, so I'm just like hyped up.
You're just antsy at home.
And it's 9 p.m. and I'm like, I guess I'm gonna go to bed now. So
Yeah, it's really not like chill at home music. Yeah.
Plouffe, what do you think? Because you like
I
punk music.
I like a lot of punk rock. Bands I've seen recently include like Lagwagon, Off With Their Heads, Fiddlar, Otoboke Beaver.
The best.
Oh, Bucket Beaver was great.
The Beths is not punk. I did see them live, but they're not punk. I actually really liked this album. I grew up listening to a lot of the stuff on stuff like, what are those old punk albums? Give 'Em the Boot and Punkorama. So Tiger Army appeared on there quite a bit. A lot of my friends were more into them than me growing up. So I actually didn't even think of Tiger Army until a few years ago when I was at my friend Quincy's place, and he's got the second album on vinyl, Moonlight Army or something. I don't know.
Something like that,
I was pretty jealous when I saw it, and I was actually real jazzed to listen to this album.
Hell yeah.
Because while I've given them like one-off songs on compilation CDs and stuff, I've never stopped and listened to like a full Tiger Army album, and I liked it. It's definitely a pick for me. I don't know.
It's a blue pick.
I agree with you guys on a lot of songs, which we'll get into that more later. But I like the vibe overall. But yeah, I like that whole like get up and go and like go and mosh for like an hour and a half and come out sweaty with your shirt off, covered in who knows what.
I can't confirm he did do that at Otoboke Beaver. He was completely drenched, sweat, shirtless. I just saw him at the SkyTrain station. He just left. I was like, oh, hey. It was a good time.
But yeah, I like a bunch of other kind of rockabilly stuff too. And I kind of like Volbeat, who's sort of similar.
Yes, they do have a rockabilly sound.
They've got a rockabilly sound. They're less.
But they're more of a metal focus.
They're more
band.
Metal rockabilly than like psychobilly. But yeah, I kind of like it. So
I saw Volbeat with Metallica.
Oh no way, really?
Yeah,
that'd be
Volbeat,
a wing show.
Sevenfold and Metallica were all playing the same.
Man,
show.
that's actually a really good show.
It was a great show. It was very loud.
Yeah, I was actually surprised to learn that the drummer Adam Carson for this album specifically was borrowed from AFI. And it's kind of funny because he doesn't do anything particularly special on this album, but like he doesn't do anything particularly special for AFI too for their drumming. So it kind of works.
Jeez. AFI was on a break at this point in when they were recording this album, so he had nothing better to do than record for Tiger Army.
That is funny though, because the only like thing that consistently comes up is that I don't like the drums.
Totally,
it's like usually it's the same drum pattern, which is pretty standard.
Very boring.
It's very early AFI.
So that's like the only thing. So it's funny that it's a misfit from a different band.
Yeah, Misfits is a different band too.
Although we were discussing a Glenn Danzig, kind of sounds like Nick 13, or I guess Nick 13 kind of sounds like Glenn Danzig.
And they both
sometimes.
sound like they're doing an Elvis impression sometimes. Yeah.
The Elvis stuff, I really don't like that part. And I understand that's like literally almost the point.
Yes.
But I still don't like it.
No.
Yeah. The second they get away from that, I'm way more into
it. When he's doing his own voice.
Yeah.
Plouffe, did you note that this is another band discovered by Tim Armstrong?
No, I did. I know that there was like something going on there, but I did not know that he like discovered them.
Yeah, he. I don't know if he discovered them, but he saw them play and convinced them to write an album. And at the time, Nick 13 was the only actual member of the band, and he had to get people together to do it. And they were signed to his record label, Hellcat Records, Hellfire Records. One of those.
I think it's Hellcat.
Hellcat. Yeah. But yeah, it's another one discovered by Tim Armstrong from Rancid. For better or for worse, because we already talked about Tim Armstrong in another episode. I think it was the Distillers episode. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I thought that was sort of interesting because Tim Armstrong is of course from Rancid. He's the bass player.
He's a singer. I can't remember if he's guitar or bass.
One of those.
He's around.
Yeah, he gets around.
He's in Rancid. Another punk band. Did you have any thoughts on it, Bill?
No. Why don't we give it one last listen?
Okay.
What an album.
What an album.
What a start to an album. I really like this jazzy start. It's not what I expected at all. And it doesn't really come back, at least super heavy. But that like stand up bass line, that kind of tiptoes, and the xylophone
Yes.
kind of falling melody. I was like, oh. And then the feedback transition into that hard hitting rock version of that jazzy riff, and yelling "Tiger Army Never Dies."
Tiger
Fire.
Army never dies.
I can just listen to this one prelude over and over again.
The prelude is actually like one of my favorite parts. I feel like it's not really fair because it's just a prelude to like it that much. But I will often, if I'm ever like, I want to listen to Tiger Army, I'll load up the album, play Prelude, play Nocturnal, play Never Die, and then just leave.
That's a solid rotation.
All right.
Hell of a
Deuces.
playlist.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite album intro I've listened to in quite a long time. I definitely was shouting along by like the second time I listened. I was
Hell
like, yes,
yeah.
this is so cool.
What does the Tiger Army never do?
Never dies.
Never dies.
That's it. I had to think about it.
They say it 12 times. Yeah, I like that one too. It has a really, really cool instrumental to it. Like the whole song is very interesting. It sets up a really good impression of the album, I guess is what I'm getting at.
I think that's the thing that frustrates me the most about the album, though, is it like sets an identity with Prelude, and they capture that identity a couple times as we've gone over. And there's some songs that I'm not naming that are all right, but like it feels like they give up. Like they kind of have this like really sick, unique sound. And then every once in a while they're like, well, maybe we should just be Elvis or something else. And they stop trying. Like the album almost feels like a random toss together of songs instead of actually thought through direction.
Yeah.
Which I understand a lot of albums are like that, but I personally appreciate when there's like a tone to an album.
Yeah,
100%.
we had that problem with another album. What was it? It was your.
We complain about it a lot. I think it's kind of one of the most common things we run into is like half of this is really good and then the other half is weirdly present. And
And like well, maybe not back then, but I especially understand in modern times that like the track list of the album itself is not something that artists are as worried about because of online plays and whatnot.
Yeah.
But this is 99, right?
Yeah,
that would have still
worried about
mattered.
that,
Yeah.
Like you
100%.
should have still cared about how even one song transitions into the next song because people are going to be playing off of CDs or records or whatever.
Yeah, and
So-
the volume levels going up and down. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
so
something
like
we brought up with. Hello. That's something we brought up with other albums where like the tone and like the volume of the album goes up and down as the like it's almost like they were placed at random when they should have grouped all the ones that are kind of quiet together and all the ones that are kind of loud together.
have a flow to it.
Yeah. It happens less on some of the older albums, like we covered Ziggy Stardust recently,
And that's perfect.
and that one is consistent all the way through. But on some of the newer ones, it seems like they was just like, okay, we have this song. Like we talked about Primus, and that one had a pacing problem as well. It also had a problem with talking about fish a lot.
It's Primus.
So, there's less shaking hands with beef on that one,
Yeah.
and more shaking
Hands
hands with
with
bass.
fish, yeah.
Are you guys? Because I don't talk to. When I was in like high school and stuff, I would talk to people about music all the time, and now I literally never talk to anyone about music. But I absolutely have like mood setting or mood matching music.
Oh, 100%.
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
So like you were mentioning, like if I listen to this at like 9 p.m. before I'm trying to fall asleep, like it doesn't work.
yeah.
I guess you literally all just agreed with me, so this is
Pretty much.
a conversation. But what like would you ever find yourself using this because you're like, I need to backtrack whatever I'm doing, and I think Tiger Army makes sense in this moment.
If that's at the gym, maybe I would listen
Oh, yeah.
to it.
This would be great
this is
gym
good
music.
Pacing music.
Yeah, I listen to a lot while driving.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of like if I was going to a party or going
Yeah.
out with someone, like putting this in the car, windows down, sunny day, like 100% on my summer jams playlist or my headbangers playlist, like 100%. But we also live in a very rainy place where I'm probably not driving with the windows down very
It doesn't
often.
apply too often. Yeah.
But when it does, like these first couple songs, so good.
This is a neighbor hater album. So like if you played this in my apartment, I would immediately get a noise complaint. So I have to be a little cognizant about what I'm listening to in my apartment. I like to listen to music at an acceptable but loud volume.
This doesn't do that great for that, to be
No.
honest.
No.
You kind of need to just blast it.
Yeah.
Like, I think some of the quality of the music is that you're kind of overwhelmed.
That's why I thank
Yes.
my concrete walls. Just boom it.
Yeah, your apartment is great for that. Mine is not so much.
I will 100%, and I've done this a bunch of times, put on Never Die or Prelude for when they're chanting, like Tiger Army, Never Die. For like, if I need to do a set to failure and I'm like, I need some motivation. Just somebody screaming like, I'll never fucking die. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is sick. I can pound out a couple more.
Yeah. I love the transition from Prelude into Nocturnal. It's super smooth.
Yes.
Obviously, it makes sense with
Yes.
it being
Yeah,
Prelude,
okay.
but
Yeah.
so good.
Duh, but this is what pisses me off is they start the album that way and then they're just like, we did it once.
Yeah.
Let us go all
Nothing
over the
ever
place from here
transitions
on.
ever again.
Because like that start is so good, and Nocturnal's a sick song. Oops, and Prelude's a sick song, and like Fog Sounds is all right, but then like True Romance happens, and you're like, what direction are we?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting because in this one here, they also they make tiger noises. They get really into it, and the rest they don't really do anything anymore.
Yeah.
It's just like there's some singing. There's a little bit of harmonizing in one or two songs, but there isn't even much there.
No.
But this one, I thought it was a nice balance between the vocal effects, the instruments, the transitions, and then it doesn't really get there again. But I did really like this song.
Yeah,
I listened to this album originally on my computer's sound card, like the computer, the one that comes with like built into the motherboard. And then the other day I bought a sound card with a DAC in it off Plouf, and I had a very different experience listening to it on the new sound card than I did on just my computer or on my phone, really. I found that some of the songs really buried the vocals in the mix so that you had no idea what Nick 13 was singing about. And then when I listened to it on an actual DAC, it sounded way better, and I could pick out what he was singing. And a couple of the reviews said the lyrics are hilarious. Like, some of the lyrics are like fun and dumb, and I'm like, I wish I could hear them.
yeah, fair enough.
But then the second listen through I did on it, and I was like, wow, you can actually pick it out. And it's the amazing thing about like getting actual good audio equipment, I think. And like my stereo sounds good. I would be thrilled to listen to this on vinyl, I think. But the album is exorbitantly expensive right now.
Yeah.
Plouf, what did you think of Nocturnal?
I really like the bass line. It's a wicked track. It just kind of picks you up and doesn't let go. I love the tiger roars. I think the chorus is pretty fun. And I really like the change up at the end on how pronounced the bass line is. But yeah, I agree that this is kind of like the peak of the album.
The guitar around 2 minutes is incredible. Yeah, the changeover in the guitar.
Yeah.
That was a real highlight for me.
And it goes into Fog Surrounds, which I like the vocals a bit more on this one because they're left clear. Like, there's no vocal effects, but the instruments are quite fuzzy.
Yeah.
Only thing is kind of the opposite, where it was very clear for me in this song, the vocals, and I actually wish they were quieter, as it felt a little bit separated from the instruments. And I'm like, especially for punk loud music, I want to like be searching for the vocals and finding that so I could be surrounded by the music. But instead I was like, I'm looking for the instruments so I can just enjoy it, I guess. Like, it's weird when it's kind of flipped.
Totally.
But I did like the drums on this one. I think it's the only one I have the note down that I like the drums.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, the drum track on this one is actually quite good. Yeah.
I really like the guitar, especially midway and then halfway on the back half. I had the same issue with the vocals. I think the lyrics were pretty cool, but I also had trouble understanding him right at the start there. But it's okay.
Yeah, he kind of loses the excuse of not being able to understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
When you can hear him. You still don't know what he's saying. You're just like, "Backhand who got it up." I'm like, yeah. Sure.
That was a really good impersonation.
Oh, what he said. I'll have what he said.
But no, it makes for a fun live show. But
Yeah.
when you're sitting, it was like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
We get True Romance.
Yeah, I like the vocalizing the chorus in this one.
The pace on this one is actually quite good too. That was the one big note I had on the pace on this one was.
This one loses me a little bit because the like quality in terms of pace or chorus or whatever might be good, but the tonality of the album shifts pretty heavily.
Yeah,
here.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And
That's very true.
The like feel is quite a drop off for me because like even Fog Sounds is like it's kind of grooving, you know. Nightfall and Nocturnal are both a little crazy. Fog Sounds is a little bit more chilled, and then it's like, whoa.
Yeah, it's
What's even
still
happening
dropping.
now? Yeah. Like, this is pretty far, personally.
Yeah. It gets really romantic with a few of these songs, like morbidly romantic.
Yeah.
Although I do like the line, "When I can see your face, it's tattooed on my dreams." It's very cheesy.
What does that mean, please?
I don't know. I like the line. I don't know what it means.
Yeah, I liked the harmonies. Again, it just is like kind of makes it like a bar song or something.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I like that live feel for
Yeah.
punk music because I don't listen to it not live. So like feeling like it's live is like, okay, that's kind of fun. It's a little repetitive though, and the drum pattern is very similar to the last song, and it kind of keeps this almost like train pattern throughout the rest of the album. So this is like where I first start to notice it's like, okay,
Yeah.
I get it with the drums now.
Probably hired Adam Carson and was like, "Here, just come up with a beat
Right.
for every track, and we'll figure the rest
4/4
out."
time. Let's do this.
yeah.
And then there's Devil Girl, which has that kind of older rock
Yes.
feel. I hate the vocal effect. It has
Yeah,
like
not into it
a
at all.
delay, but it's enough that's like a speech jammer. It's
Yeah.
like I'm like at a fair and it's playing over the PA system. Hate it. Do not like that.
Yeah, it has an excessive reverb on it. But the upright bass is jamming.
Oh,
in
so
this
good.
one. Yeah.
The upright bass is like, for all the failings of the drums on this entire album, the upright bass is sick.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it
And
picks
you
it
don't-
right up.
You don't hear it that often, I find, in especially music that I listen to. So having it like very featured in a really cool and fun way on an album was entertaining. But again, these last two songs, both of them are often, I will stop whatever I'm doing to skip these.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like if I let it play for a little bit and I hear the bass go, like I might enjoy that, but I'm usually enjoying that while moving towards skipping the song.
Yeah. I would not listen to this one again.
It definitely has like a 50s, 60s rock vibe
Yeah.
to it in a way that is not, I don't know, it's not offensive, but it's just like, it's a little much.
Yeah.
It's a little much.
Yeah.
The good news is
Never die.
the next song is Never,
Never
Die.
Dies next. Let's go. Oh man.
I love the bassist on it. It's just fantastic.
I like the little dreamy guitar part.
Oh, yeah.
at like a minute.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Yeah, the in-between verses is a lot of fun, the way they kind of switch it up and keep everything interesting, because I was worried it was just going to be this kind of same pace through the whole song. But nope, they keep
changes.
changing it up.
Yeah.
And the Never Die chants go hard,
Oh yeah.
so hard. And the whole ending, I'm just like, oh, what an end to a song. Like, so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to see this live. I bet you
Me too.
tons of like walls of death have formed during that Never Die refrain part. Like, oh, this is fantastic. It'd be so fun live.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have anything more positive to say. I just
No.
absolutely love this song.
I'm sitting and listening to it right now and just like, it's still so good.
It is probably a banger. It is probably the banger of the album.
Yeah, like it's. I know I've said this too many times already, but it starts pretty strong. Nightfall's good. Nocturnal's really good. Nightfall and Nocturnal are both really good in my opinion.
Yeah.
Fog Sounds is okay, and then you forget about things for a while. Never Dies sick, and then you just, if you bail out.
It's okay.
It's a good place to bail out. Yeah,
That being said, Moonlight Dreams
it's got a cool breakdown in the middle.
Yeah, I actually like
is
this one.
all right. Yeah, I don't think I've mentioned it until this moment, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, that one's not bad. Yeah.
The ba-
I think this is probably my favorite one.
Moonlight Dreams. Cool.
There's the lyrics are pretty catchy, and I like the breakdown at 1 minute and 15 seconds where there's just like the psycho scream to get back into it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then it breaks down at the ending again,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
so good. Like
I-
if Prelude and Nocturnal weren't there, this would be the favorite, because like the combination of that Prelude and Nocturnal are just so good. Like
Yeah.
there's no way it can't be the best on the album, but I did really like this one. It goes toe to toe with Never Die for sure for me.
Sure.
I forget about it often, but it's a solid song. I almost always continue to let it play, but I don't come to the album for it, if that makes sense.
the bassist on this one is like particularly incredible. He's not doing anything super complex as far as I'm aware, but he is just motoring
there's
on
a
that bass.
fast pace.
Just he's just ripping it so hard.
They have a pace increase just over the halfway mark of the song.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh man, I don't know how he's just sitting there
Just
going
yeah.
wild. But I salute him for it.
I do wish, after listening to this album, I do wish there was more albums that had, not necessarily from Tiger Army, but just like in music that I listen to in general, because I enjoyed that bass so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I can understand it's probably really hard.
Yeah, it's got a really unique sound.
Yeah.
Then we go into trance.
It starts from a fade in.
Yeah, I don't like fade outs, but it's got a rare fade in, and it's pretty cool.
That's an unusual way to start a song. That's like starting a song from like you started recording 10 minutes ago. Yeah, it's unusual, but I didn't hate that. I thought it was it's like you're joining a conversation in the middle of it.
And it's interesting because Moonlight Daydreams doesn't fade out.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's fading out one and fading the other. It's just
Again,
like...
just the album doesn't really go together.
Fades in. It's like, oh, okay. Sure.
Yeah, it's very unusual, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, no. Drums are solid on this one.
Yeah.
The pace slowdown during the instrumental about halfway through the song is fun. And it stands out as being kind of more unique compared to the first jazzier songs that kind of sound doesn't come back. But compared to the last 5 or 6 songs I've been playing, this one seems a bit more unique.
Yeah, the lyrics are really spooky, and I like them. A girl is getting put into a trance via voodoo power.
Got hypnotized.
It kind of reminds me of the Voodoo Glow Skulls, but that's mostly just the voodoo lyrics.
The voodoo part, yeah.
Yeah, the voodoo part.
I didn't mind this song. I don't really care for it too much either, but I would have, if we dropped a bunch of songs, including the next one we're going to talk about, and there was more songs like this, I would have definitely liked this album more.
Yeah.
Because this does feel more in tune with what the band, in my opinion, should have really been trying to do, which is this kind of like funky experimental stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not my favorite song, but it's in the spirit of why I like the album.
Totally.
So,
Yeah, there's a lot of unique stuff that's happening here that's just being executed in weird ways and not consistently. Like the pace changes are really fun. The fade in is really cool. But then it happens like once every few songs, and it doesn't happen, I don't know. It's just very, very odd. And the next song, 20 Flight Rock. It's a cover, right? This has to be. It's so weird.
It has the same or very similar bass line to "Let It Rock" by Chuck Berry.
Yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
all I picked up. That's all I picked up from.
It
I
feels
was like,
so
that bass line
different.
sounds familiar, and I listened to something, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's just the same bass line.
the best part about this song, like bar none in my opinion, is that it is by a decent amount the shortest song on the
Yeah,
album.
a minute and a half.
Including the prelude, which I find pretty surprising. But I'll take it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like the vocal effect. The lyrics are funny. He's got to climb a bunch of stairs, and then he dies because he's exhausted. He doesn't make it to the top. So, yeah, that's weird.
Okay, I guess. Yeah.
I don't mind it so much, but I kind of like rockabilly, so it's okay. But I wish that they had stuck to kind of the other sound that they were going for.
Yeah.
This would be so cool at like a fall fair. People would
Oh,
go
yeah,
wild
yeah.
at a small town
Totally.
fall fair.
Yeah.
I'm taking this back to Cranbrook, and they're going to go wild.
And then we get Werecat.
Okay, what are they chanting at the start? I don't know. I was like, I don't know if this is what word they're saying, but it's very weird.
I don't know. This one felt almost like an interlude to me because there's not much in terms of lyrics, but Nick 13 is still like very active on the track.
It's about a half werewolf, half cat.
A Werecat. I like the guitar on it.
Yeah, the intro's cool.
Yeah.
I don't understand most of the lyrics. I do. It's funny. I like the PA system filter on this song because it doesn't have the delay. It's just like a filter of someone like calling you or whatever.
The only problem is that the lyrics are muffled, and they're also buried like halfway down in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
So you would never know that this song is a dumb song about a half werewolf, half cat, which is a dumb premise for a song, but I like it.
Hey, it's a Werecat.
Yeah, I like this one. Short and sweet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not gonna lie, full honesty, at this point, I am always off of this album. the last few songs, so from 20 Flight Rock onwards, probably, and I've been listening to this album since I was in grade 8.
Okay.
From 20 Flight Rock onwards, I probably have single-digit plays for all of these songs. 20 Flight Rock is honestly probably at like 3 or 4 because of accidents over time. And then the rest of these, if it was easier to press skip than it was to find a different album, that would be the only reason why I listened to them.
Well, it's like, Jamie, what was that one for the Canceled Musicians album where he had like 800 listens for the whole album, but some of the songs had 20?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one with the people, the ghost costumes. Go listen to this Canceled episode.
The brand new album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you looked at your last FM, it's like, I have 400 listens, and you're like, this song has 6. Like, I had no idea what the song even is.
Yeah. So I've been just to refresh people, I've been logging what I listened to through Last FM. It used to be called Audio Scrobbler since 2006.
Since it was called Audio Scrobbler.
So it's kept track of how many times I've listened to that album, like yearly or like every day or whatever. And yeah, like one of them has like 400 plays and the other one has like 4. And we were trying to figure out what was objectionable about it. It's just like, it's just a nothing song on the album. And it must be one I just hit skip like every time, but 4 times I missed it.
yeah, exactly. That's these last few tracks for me. 100%.
Yeah. Well, then there's Outlaw Heart with my first note, Yeehaw.
Yeah, it's a Western
I did
track.
not think I was going to like this song, and then I really liked it.
I liked it too.
I like the angle they took for a country song.
It's got a really good country sound to the guitars with a good pedal steel.
It
in
feels
the
so
background.
genuine.
Ooh.
Like they didn't sound like they're trying too hard and like missing. It made me go, they should just make a cowboy album.
Sir, as a fan of some country music and the Grateful Dead, who love the pedal steel guitar, I really like this song.
As a fan of Big Iron on his hip from the Fallout.
Big
that's
Iron.
I think that's my problem with the song, though, is like
It
Doesn't
sounds
fit.
like old country.
I come to this album specifically for tone, and tone that it doesn't have that many songs for.
Yeah, randomly a cowboy song. It's
Like I
okay.
don't think I actually dislike the song individually, but I am never here for that song. If it was on an album, like you said, if they had like if they did like a Tiger Army does an offshoot and they do like whatever, this is the cowboy album, I might even enjoy that whole album because it seems well made.
It's like Me First and the Gimme Gimmes have a country
Ween
album.
does too.
Yeah, do they have a country
Yeah.
album? Oh, crazy.
Just like randomly has a country album.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, it's funny because it's still modern. Like they're talking about driving around and staying in motels and stuff. It's like, oh, okay. But yeah, in the context of this album, it makes 0 sense.
yeah.
It's
And
very
it's funny
weird.
for it to be the most popular song on
Yeah.
this album. When
Well,
must
it's got to be.
be.
Someone
It's
said
gotta be
it's
in
got to
some-
be from like that. It makes me think. What was that name of that show? Motorcycle.
Oh, Sons of Anarchy?
Oh,
I could see it from like a show like Sons of
yeah,
Anarchy
I
or
could
something
see
like
that.
that.
Yeah, it must have been featured on something because there's very little information on this record. There wasn't very many reviews of it done, contemporary or even now.
I wonder why.
It was like it was just like one of those like random releases from a very tiny label, right? So, but yeah, it must have been in something. That's the only thing. Like maybe it was in Westworld or something, or
Yeah, maybe something like that.
but
I'm not finding anything when I look it up.
Yeah, me neither. I'm like on the YouTube video
Maybe
for it.
it's on, like, a
who's here
weird-
from whatever? Nothing.
well, I wonder if it was like on a Spotify playlist.
Yeah, maybe it just got featured in the right place.
Yeah,
It's called Outlaw Heart, so it wouldn't surprise me if someone just like found it.
It's very
Just-
searchable.
Yeah, it's very searchable. Just found it, and then all of a sudden it became popular.
yeah.
I think it's pretty good, but I fully agree with you guys. Like these guys can rip, and they're not ripping here, and that's absolutely what I prefer from this album is for them to just get on the mic and rip through the stage.
Yes, this is actually one of the slower songs on the album.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I'm assuming because I've not listened to them that this did not influence them in the future, unless it just really wasn't popular at the time. Because there's a YouTube video on the YouTube.
On the YouTube.
2.2 million listens on top of Apple Music and Spotify,
What is
and
going
then
on?
people buying the album.
This
or
one
whatever.
specific song.
It's crazy.
That is baffling to me. Maybe I'll do a slight more research to that. Neo Bam Boom.
What a cool title.
It's got a cool bass line.
Yeah. Well, there's a cool bass line on like every track on
This
this
one
album.
you can hear.
Yeah, I like the speed of the song, and the guitar riffs are really solid. And in the lyrics and the final verse, it's each line starts with question marks. So I have no clue what he's saying, and I guess it was never released
Yeah.
of what he's actually saying.
I wrote that too. Hilarious that Spotify and Genius both just have question marks.
Question mark,
for part
because
of the
every cat
lyrics.
has his day. Question mark,
Yeah.
question mark. But now things are fine. It's like, what is that? What is he saying? No one knows.
Maybe
It's
he
solid.
just doesn't say anything. Maybe he's just mumbled.
He's like, "Blah, blah, 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 every cat has his day." It's
I
like,
wonder if he's
okay.
actually saying Neo Bamboom.
Oh,
Neo Bamboom.
that would make sense.
I have no idea. Genuinely no idea.
Either way, I love it.
Yeah,
It's fine. Yeah.
It's great. It's definitely hard to understand, but I really like what they're doing here.
Last Night, which is
Also-
our last track.
Last song, yeah.
Last song.
It's solid.
It's fine.
It's fine. Yeah, I like the singer Nick 13 really pushes his vocals to hit high notes in this one, which I liked. Because before it seemed like there was just strain for the sake of like a raw kind of sound. This one he actually like hit some higher notes and did some stuff, which was nice.
Yeah.
And there's some solid riffs. The chorus is catchy. I would have liked to hear the chorus again because the 13 Black Roses happens twice. I think
Okay.
it would have been nice to have a repeat at the end because it's very catchy. But
And it's got a little, it's got a cheeky little bass solo after the song ends. It's like a little hidden, like cheeky little bass solo.
I hate hidden tracks, or I hate hidden weird things.
It's a punk album. You have to put them on there. It's at least it's not as bad as the one on the Distillers where it's just like 13 minutes of noise.
Oh yeah, I skip Death Sex every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
So is the intro just reversed? Is that
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, I
didn't
said
think
it.
of
I
that.
wrote down some reversed speech that ends with a spooky noise.
Yeah, I don't know what the speech is because it's just someone talking.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing where when you're listening on vinyl or whatever, all of a sudden there's just weird noises and it ends with
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
scared me.
It's such
I
a
was
weird
like,
noise.
Oh no, like I don't like that. So I hate hidden tracks for that reason because I forget about it and it's
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
But I mean the song's solid.
Yeah, I like the guitar solo about halfway through.
Yeah.
Goes really well with the bass. And I like how he ends it by saying goodbye.
Goodbye.
Yeah, it's an okay ending track.
Yeah, it's fine. It definitely ends the album with just more. Again, the same drum pattern that we've had the whole album.
Yeah.
Drummer really was not a highlight here.
No.
No. The drummer was there because they need to have a drummer.
Yeah.
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 Thank you, Adam Carson, for participating.
And you got the participation trophy for this album.
It's always interesting to me, like how many people desperately want to get into music.
Yeah.
Especially, I find, at least from, I was about to say our generation. I don't know how fair that is. My generation, for like
We cross
guitars and
generations.
drums and stuff like that. And then there's all these drummists that are just like insanely good. And then this guy ends
got a
up
shot.
on like multiple, maybe Tiger Army
And
isn't the most
multiple
famous,
bands.
but AFI was huge.
Yeah, if I was pretty big. For a while.
How did you end up there?
Yeah. I'm not a huge AFI guy, so I can't say whether his playing on AFI is.
It's not.
You don't like
It's
Mr.
okay.
Burger?
It's mediocre there too.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, I'm not like the hugest fan, but I've listened to a few albums.
It's like
and,
how the Ramones couldn't really play music, but people love the Ramones. Or how the guitarist from the B-52s only had 3 strings on his guitar because he only knew how to play chords on those strings.
yeah, but we got Rock
That's
Lobster.
efficient. That's efficient.
That is, yeah.
Rock
sounds like
Lobster
a-
is a banger. Though.
Yeah, it
He
is.
needs to teach a master class.
Yeah.
So the problem you have is you have too many strings.
You have too many strings. There are 6 strings on your.
Don't know how to play them? Get rid of them.
Yeah, I just get him out of there.
This guy's playing bass. He knows what's up.
Well, I mean, history is full of like musicians that barely knew what they were doing that succeeded.
Sure, and there's a lot of
Beatles.
famous singers who
Yeah,
like
the Beatles, yeah.
a lot of famous singers who don't like technically sound good.
Yeah.
I think my point with this guy is he was like bouncing bands and stuff. Like if it's like, oh, this is the band that formed in high school and like
Right.
they were never really that proficient, but they made good music and people liked it. It's like, okay, whatever, that works. But when you're bouncing around, so you're clearly not there because you've just always been there. My brain would think that you'd have to get there through being really good,
Right?
and it just didn't. It didn't turn out that way. It didn't work that way. No. It's confusing.
Yeah, he must have auditioned at some point, or someone must have known who he was and been like, "All right."
Yeah, like
I guess.
I don't know.
That's good enough.
You get vetted as like the guy that isn't going to do coke on stage. That's all you really needed.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's not going to pass
Or
out
like-
on
yeah.
stage.
He will make it. That's he'll show up.
He's got his own van.
Yeah, like that kind of
That's
stuff.
it. That's
You
all
come
it
with
was.
infrastructure.
Yeah.
Like, this is my contribution.
He has a mixing board and a van.
Jamie, what do you think about this album? What's your final verdict?
I like that album. I mean, will I ever listen to Tiger Army again? I am gonna try it. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. There, like, it's a good enough introduction that I'm curious to find out what comes after that. I mean, they have like I said, like 6 other albums. That can't be a fluke. Like, you don't get 6 other chances if you put out a stinker. Maybe you do, not from a small label. I mean, but
I think you'll find there isn't a ton of songs after this album that they are like really known for.
yeah.
There's one at least that I don't remember the name of right now. Rose in a something. I think that's from a different album.
Sure.
Rose in a Covered Garden or something.
That sounds
That's
familiar,
cool, yeah.
actually.
Dark and Lonely Nights has 2.2 million views on YouTube.
Okay.
Forever Fades Away has 2.7 million views.
Okay, so there's got to be a banger
Okay.
per
Yeah,
album.
there's something in there.
And Rose in the Devil's Garden has 3.4. Rose in the Devil's Garden is actually pretty good.
Okay.
Some of these, if I remember correctly, Rose in the Devil's Garden, Forever Fades Away, Dark and Lonely Nights, all of those, they start to kind of eventually be like, okay, we actually do have a sound. But I think it's like a too little too late type of situation.
I mean, there's very few artists where their first album is their strongest work, and we've covered a couple of them. So we covered Boston, and their best album is their first album. And then we covered
Amazing album though.
Boston's great.
Yeah, it's totally okay.
Bell didn't like it.
as
But
You didn't like it?
I don't like storytelling songs.
Oh,
We're
I
just
love,
prepared
I love
Really?
storytelling. songs. I'm very.
They tell a story about how they're so rich and cool and famous on their first album. They're not rich and cool and famous yet.
Do you listen to rap music?
It worked.
That's true. That's a fair counter. That's a fair counter.
But we've covered them. We've covered Green Day, whose best album is their first album. And it gets
I'm trying to think. I don't know
Somewhere
their
bet-
albums, but
Dookies their best album,
I
like
don't
hands down.
I believe you. I was never.
Have you listened to American Idiot?
American Idiot is a fine album.
No, it's not.
It is not. It was fine when I was in high school.
I hate that album so much.
MGMT, their first album. Ragga Spectacular.
Their first album is so good. Kids is such a good song. But anyway, what is my verdict? Because you asked me that 10 minutes ago now. I'm gonna give it like a 9 out of 13. I didn't hate the album.
9 out of 13.
I rate it out
Yeah,
of
no,
13.
it's got an awful
I just
scale.
rate it out of 13. Yeah.
Awful skill.
That's an atrocious scale. I think you should feel bad.
We
about
all
that.
do different ways of ranking. It's just
He
hideous.
actually ranks them. It's like, I rated above.
I do Top Gear.
Crime of the Century.
Oh, that's
and
perfect.
I rate it, yeah.
I said
That's
we should all
great.
do that, but no.
Yeah.
13, 10, and ranked.
We don't even have a website. So
You just got to remember what my list was.
Yeah, that's even better. It adds to the lore.
we have an email address. If there's emails in it, please please. We're not ignoring you. I swear.
Just steal.
Nobody
from,
knows what the email, the password is.
Listen. I'm logged in. I just choose not to check it.
Anyway, yeah, I like the album. Would I go out and buy it? Probably not, because it's like $90.
Oh yeah, it's way too expensive.
But the album cover is sick.
I love that. Oh man, I meant to mention that earlier, but I realized we were going through a track list, and I was like, "This is not the right time."
Oh, go ahead.
But the aesthetics, I've always been super into.
Yeah,
That album cover, it's based off an old movie. I don't remember the name of it, but just super cool. They
Yeah,
had
it was like its
sweaters back in the
poster,
day
yeah.
that were like Tiger Army Never Die sweaters, and they had that art. Like oh
Yeah,
man.
all their art is pretty sweet.
It was so cool.
it's a panther gonna fight a tiger.
yeah, it's just like it's sick.
But yeah, I'd recommend the listener of this podcast to give it a listen. I think you can make your own decision on whether Tiger Army should die or not. But yeah, Actually, Plouffe, what did you think?
So I actually gave it the same score in a way, but I give it a 9 out of 10.
Whoa.
Okay. So 9 out of 13 is like an 80. Or
I know.
something
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not at all the same.
It's the same first number. It's the same first number. They're both 9s.
9 out of 10.
I just really like punk stuff, and like but the thing is, I like a lot of
also
rockabilly
like
too.
rockabilly,
So
yeah.
it's like it's perfect. I think that they could use some higher production value. That's probably just because it's like their first album
on an indie label.
Yeah, that would have been nice. And I definitely think that, the drumming could have been better. But man, I think that bassist is just nuts. And the singing fits perfectly. And I don't know, it just really amps me up. And if I can ever find, like I said, my buddy Quincy's got their second album. I'm now hella jealous. If I can ever find this just in a bin somewhere for like even $40, I'd probably buy it. Will I ever find it like that? Probably not. But yeah, that'd be pretty sweet.
I don't think there's very many of them
No.
out in existence.
Luke, what did you think? It's interesting hearing. Please give it a 9.
Not a 9, because I don't like rockabilly. It really depends. If I have to rate it as a whole, I'm probably giving it like a 7, or even like a 6.5. I think it would be too insulting to the really sick tracks on the album to go below that, from my own opinion. Obviously, you guys can do whatever. But like, yeah, while there is those few, probably 4 or 5 tracks that I enjoy, and then maybe I'll say 4 exactly tracks that I like really, really like. The problem is there's 13 total tracks. So it's like, okay, we're outnumbered here. I don't think it's worth going like, okay, for every good track you get a point, for every bad track you lose a point. I don't think that's entirely fair, because I can skip songs. It's not a very difficult thing to do. So yeah, I'm thinking like 6.5 to 7. It has to lose some points, in my opinion, for those songs that I just like really don't like. But yeah, like Never Die, Nocturnal, Prelude, and the one that's after Never Die that I don't remember the name of. Those 4, I will always enjoy those songs. So like, it's got to get some points.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent album. Though this isn't the music I typically listen to, I enjoyed my time with Tiger Army. It's short and sweet, and though I found the drums to be pretty repetitive throughout the album, the short song lengths, interesting vocals, solid riffs, and amazing bass lines that can be engaged throughout the entire half-an-hour runtime. I don't think I'll really ever listen to this again, but I could definitely see myself rocking out the first couple songs and yelling Tiger Army Never Die. I'll just always be yelling that.
That's good stuff.
I'm going to put it in the 23rd spot, below Down on the Road by the Beach by Steve Hyatt, and above the Mars Volta by the Mars Volta, and just a couple below the Distillers Coral Fang. I had it just above Down the Road by the Beach, but I thought, like, which ones would I actually listen to more? And like a summer beach vibe is probably going to come on more often than like punk, cowboy, radio Elvis. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, the lack of consistency really does kind of affect things. It may seem low, but it's just because it's not really my cup of tea. It is very solid. Check out the Distillers. Check out.
Don't say Green Day.
Well, I mean,
Don't say Green Day.
Don't say Green Day.
If you want to check out Green Day, I mean, American Idiot is solid. But yeah, pretty decent album. And then next week is my pick.
Uh-oh.
We're listening to Gordon by Bare Naked Ladies.
That's right.
Which also has fire stand-up bass.
Yes, it
So
does.
that is our connection to that. Otherwise, not at all related. But I have to say, when I was listening to last night, the song ended, and Gambler's Life by Nick 13, like his solo album, came up. It's more like Outlaw Heart, and it sounded very solid. So
cool.
Yeah.
if you like this,
Yes.
just check out his
Yeah.
solo stuff. Maybe the things that you liked about this album, you like about that. Unless you like the first 2 songs of this album, you will never hear anything like that ever again.
Yeah.
And the Bare Naked Ladies Gordon is also a debut album.
It is.
Yeah.
And maybe it's also a 10.
Oh,
Who knows?
who said that?
Find out next week.
Thanks for our guest, Luke, for showing up and bringing us Tiger Army.
Thanks for coming by. That was great.
It only took like half a year.
Oh, whatever.
Until next time, when we're going to listen to another Tiger Army record. You're just going to keep bringing them back, right?
Oh no.
Tiger
No.
Army 2.
We'll save Mad Villainy. That's what it'll be.
I don't know. Yeah, It'll probably be Mad Villainy at this point.
Luke, you can come on as many times as you want.
Yeah, I don't know.
You could do.
I just came to hang out.
17
I wanted to be one of the 8 listeners.
Hell yeah.
On Spotify.
That was
Let's
nuts.
go.
I saw that tweet. I was like, it makes it look like we have 8 listeners.
No, because we have like that particular episode. So Ziggy Stardust has 8 listens on Spotify, but it has like 80 listens on everything else. It is baffling to me. Thank you for everyone who listens to us on any platform, including Spotify.
Yeah, if you listen on Spotify, you can rank these albums like we do.
Yeah.
Like
But
Bell
if you
does.
don't,
can send us
which
feedback,
most of
too.
you don't, you just get a listen.
And we
You should
appreciate
start
you.
like your list should be a like. I don't use Spotify, but you could add albums to a list. I'm certain.
Yeah.
You should just make a list.
I
on
should make a
Spotify.
playlist.
That's
Oh, yeah, it's a
smart.
good idea.
Yeah, the vinyl
Well, click
verdict.
the link in the Twitter. Maybe. We'll have that.
If someone does it,
Yeah. And like that website we keep saying, go to vinylverdict.com. It'll just show up to the
Go to
Spotify
the-
page.
Yeah,
but
the anchor page or whatever.
maybe this time it'll be something different.
Maybe.
By the time you're listening to this, listener, we've updated it for you.
I enjoy addressing them as listener.
Friend.
Hello, friendo.
Let's create this parasocial relationship. All right. Bye.
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 See ya.